Hi, welcome to the channel where we provide an alternative view to the common narrative. Today I would like to talk about South Africa and China. Now, I've made some videos about South Africa per se, and I made it clear that South Africa, which was a fully 100% functioning country and government in 1994, has now deteriorated to a semi-failed state where every basically government run company or branch has been driven into the ground and is running at loss and doesn't function anymore, and so forth and so forth. And today I would like to talk about Transnet itself. Now, we all know that South Africa is one of the original 5 members of the BRICS countries, and that Russia and China are in the process of establishing a multipolarity world, and that BRICS will form is the backbone of this process, together with other institutions that have been developed over the years, like the ASEAN and the Singapore Trade Organization, yeah, I think that one, and so forth. And that China, under the leadership of Xi Jinping, has embarked on this Big Belt and Road initiative, which is supposed to connect China and the Middle East together and up to Europe, and then also expand into Africa, from Africa also into South America. And basically it is the re-establishment of the old trade routes and interconnect all the global south countries, if you want to call it like that. Now, South Africa being part of the BRICS, this is a huge opportunity to bring back South Africa from the brink of total collapse and basically boost our economy, and then get rid of our unemployment, which is currently at more than 40%. And maybe we can make South Africa prosper, because it is still one of the most developed countries in Africa itself, and it was always seen as a gateway to the rest of Africa. I believe that has slowly been deteriorating, and that's why I think Ethiopia was now made part of the BRICS countries, and there's a lot of other individual developments of China into various African countries, and Russia is making an effort to do that. So they're not focusing on South Africa anymore. And my question in my previous video was basically, will the South African ANC be able to grasp this opportunity and make full use of this privileged position that South Africa is actually in, and being part of the BRICS countries? And today I read an article in a report, which is our Sunday newspaper, and it talked about a Chinese company, the largest largest company in China, who for the construction and design of harbors and bridges and railway networks and stuff like that, called CCCC. And they were actually proposing a 250 billion rand, which is about $10 billion, a little bit more than $10 billion, into getting and to stimulate our economy and get our railway network going again. Now, our railway network is in shambles. They have, due to corruptions and incompetence and stuff like that, they have bought a number of about 1,000 locomotives from China, from a specific country. And there were some problems in that. And not all of the train locomotives were delivered. I think there's more than 500 still in China that hasn't been delivered. And then a number were delivered to South Africa, and some of them have broken down. and needs spares, and due to the disagreements between South Africa and this company, they are refusing to send any spare parts. And this has now created a major problem for South African railways. And it was so bad that they have about, I've got to get my facts right, so please be a little bit patient that I read it. In any case, I think they have about 600 or 700 locomotives, of which 350 are about non-functionally, and of the 300 function being unoperational, 3 of them are actually Chinese locomotives, for which they can't get any spares. Now, this proposal by the Chinese big company, CCCC, propose that say that this is, you cannot do a half-hearted effort, and they are actually proposed something very similar to the so-called Marshall Plan that the US implemented after the Second World War in Europe in order to stimulate and get the economies again on track. And that's why they believe a huge investment is necessary. And this huge investment will actually be the establishment of a new power station in Richards Bay, and the expansion of and modernization of the Richards Bay Harbour, which is our main export harbour for raw goods like coal and manganese and iron and stuff like bulk export terminals. The container ones are more into the Durban Harbour itself. And they would also erect an area for the Sino smelter, which would be able to smelt titanium, aluminium, and steel, and something else, another metal. So it would be basically what we would do is we would they will also increase the tonnage of the railway between the Johannesburg, Gauteng, and Durban, which is about 500 kilometers. Gauteng is actually our main hub of industry, the center of South African economies, from 80 million tons to about 120 million tons. So they will increase that capacity, and then they will have to enlarge in a certain tunnel and build the necessary infrastructure that goes with it, and then they would build a distribution center or a bulk handling facility in Joburg itself, because most of our raw materials don't come from Joburg but come from our East Transvaal, the old called East Transvaal, Limpopo and Mpumalanga, where most of our coal and minerals are actually mined. And then they will establish a network between that and Joburg. So effectively what you can see is that the Chinese were proposing to get our huge mineral resources that we have in our country to a harbor, which in this case is Richards Bay, and then some of it process it on in South Africa itself, some of the raw material, and then be able to ship the rest out naturally to China. Well, that will boost our export, it will create a huge number of jobs and so on, and at least get our raw material, which South Africa is very rich into, to the markets. In fact, because of the deterioration of our South African railway system, a lot of trains couldn't run, and it resulted in a lot of cancellation of certain freight trains. In fact, that our South African mines couldn't export about 25 million tons of coal. Now, we have huge amount of coal, and coal is still needed in a lot of parts of the world. The transition to renewable energy is not possible to do it in a year or two. It will probably take 30 years to finally get the change over, and then one even has to question if it was worthwhile and so on. So are we ever going to get rid of coal? That's a debatable point. But South Africa is very rich in minerals. But our biggest problem is that we can't go and export it and sell it because our railway system is not capable of performing this the necessary transportation. And what I said in my my previous video was that if you want to destroy a country, destroy its infrastructure. Because no infrastructure, no business, and no business, no work, and no income for this government, for the state, and that's a deterioration. Infrastructure building is one of the most important elements of creating a successful type of industry or economy. And that we all know, because that was the strong point of the Americans who did it in the Second World War, or just before that, or afterwards, when they went on a huge infrastructure development. Also the same with China. They created a lot of infrastructure, and with the infrastructure they became private investments and entrepreneurs and business and economic growth and so on. But somehow our government is just refusing or to see it, or to blind, or incompetent, or they are just plain lazy. In our case, these guys have sent a letter about, I think, on the 13th of July or somewhere around there in July, making a proposal to our government, and they followed up with a letter in September, but until now they haven't received any reply or any indication from our ministry. And our minister that is in charge of that is Pravin Gordhan. Now, he was previously our finance minister and so on, and they all praised him for that, but after that he had different portfolios, and now he's in charge of all the state enterprises, and it is just downhill one way or the other. Whether it's corruptness, I'm not sure, but the man is not doing its work. Now, apparently he went to China to look for some funds in order to get our railway network out of the financial crisis was undergoing. They made a loss of about 5.7 billion rand last year, and I think over the last couple of years they made up to 30 billion total debt they accumulated losses. So it's really going bad at Transnet. It's just, well, how can I even compare? They're all fucked up. In any case, and he went to China apparently to find some funds for that. So it seems to me he's still fixed into getting the small stuff of Transnet fixed. But you know, if you look at South Africa has so many structural problems and so much need for investment and repairs of our infrastructure and expansion of that, which the ANC have neglected for the last 26 years, that they need something like what the proposal is for China. And these guys even said that they will take over the locomotives of the previous contract with another Chinese company. They will repair it on their costs and so on, and then they will lease it from South African railways. And they will probably have proposed the financing of this whole system by either leasing it from South Africa or managing it. They would also install the latest management software and control of these networks. So it will be a huge plus point or a huge development for South Africa itself, because at the end of the day, the more you can even argue, okay, so let's assume for some reason, because we never know what the contract is, let's assume the Chinese owe this railway network. So they owe a certain piece of our South African infrastructure. It doesn't mean the government can't build infrastructure right next to it. So it's not that it's permanently or really bad. They can charge their clients, which is the mines, for the transport of these raw materials, which is fair. It's business is business. If they become too expensive, it's a question of re-evaluating the whole process and then either South Africa purchases the infrastructure for them, or they erect a similar infrastructure just right next to them and drive them out of business. Or, they're installing or they're constructing a new gas power power station in Richards. We need power. They can still, under our own legislation, sort of buy the power for that, but I don't think it will be used for that. It will be used for the Sino smelter, which is, again, it's an investment of a business. So what's wrong with a Chinese business compared to American business? So if America erects the smelter, which we have, Americans or Europeans smelters, then that's fine. So why can't we have a Chinese one? So I don't fully understand that. Even if these entities belong to the Chinese, it's still a foreign country, which it seems to me we don't have any problems with. And but at the end of the day, it's all about our mines exporting our raw materials, and thereby earning foreign exchanges. So our balance of payment will be of import-export would improve, our currency would improve, our imports will improve, our own development will be improving in that respect. It will create a lot more jobs, and we have the minerals and raw materials to do that. And who knows, if the smelter comes online, and yes, some of the Chinese steel is of very poor quality, maybe the quality here in South Africa will be of much higher standard, because we have our own legislation, our Quality Control Standards Institute, the SABS, that controls and regulates our minimum standards in South Africa. So if they can force these guys to abide by that, then we have much better steel in South Africa. Currently, we only have the major Indian steel producer, which is the sole steel producer in South Africa, and then we have at least a competition. And, such a thing is adding value to a product before it is exported. So you don't only export the raw material, you export the refined raw material, which adds value to the value chain and therefore earns higher income, higher foreign currencies, and has a huge tax basis. But it seems to me that the ANC, like I said, is either too lazy or has no vision, which I can assure you they have no vision. They only have plans and promises, but they have no oomph to get anything going. So if they don't react to this type of proposal, or seriously respond at least to the proposal, then I'm sorry, South Africa is doomed. Because this is the first sign, not that the future of South Africa depends on this proposal, but that it would be the first in a long list of other proposals that they will not be able to grasp, and therefore South Africa will not benefit from our relationship or our position in the BRICS association, the BRICS group. China wants to invest and expand. They are not interfering in political like the West or making such demands. They have even written off loans to African countries, in contrast to what the IMF and the World Bank has done over many centuries. So let's hope that I'm not wrong, that I'm wrong. Let's hope I am wrong, and that they will see the opportunity in the BRICS group, and they will grasp the support that the Chinese are actually providing, and just structure it and negotiate it so that though it's a mutually balanced win-win situation for all the parties. I hope I can understand that right. Okay. So let's see what's happening. It has been two deadlines that are being missed. So I will keep my eyes open, or my ears, or whatever. and hopefully report back on a better story on this matter. So this is my story then for today. If you liked it and you haven't subscribed, subscribe, and tell your friends, and press the like button, whatever, and so on. And until next time then, cheers.